Okay, the past simple. We use the past simple to talk about actions that started and finished in the past. If you remember, we have already practiced some verbs in the past. And I've told you that there are regular and irregular verbs. Regular verbs are the verbs that we have to add ed or ied to make the past tense. For example, I have play, remember played, study, studied, push, pushed, watch, watched, rent, rented, melt, melted, dance, danced, and produce, produced. All those are, sorry, all those are regular verbs because to make the past tense, I need ed. For example, play, played with ed. Study, I drop the y and I write ied. And if you remember, we already see this in class. So how do I make the past tense form of regular verbs? So it says to most verbs, I'm going to add ed. For example, walk, walked, ed. Want, wanted, ed. Need, needed, ed. If the verb already ends in an e, like decide or phone or arrive, I just add the d. Decide, decided with an extra d. Phone, phoned with an extra d. Arrive, arrived with an extra d. If the word ends with a y, but before the y has a consonant like d, like r again, okay? Then I'm going to drop the y and I'm going to write ied. Study, studied. Cry, cried, ied. Try, tried. But if it ends with a vowel, and I have a consonant, a vowel, and another consonant like stop or chat, remember I have to double the last consonant. Stop, stopped, chat, chatted. I think so far we're fine. So I also have irregular verbs. If you remember, irregular verbs are the verbs that change, that are different. For example, I had training. What is the past tense of, well, the past tense is had. What is the present tense? The present tense is have. I had training, and the present is have. We won 3-0. Won. The present tense, win. We went to the pool. Went. The present tense, go. On Friday, I did judo at school. The present tense of did is do. On Saturday, my mom bought me a new pair of trainers. The present tense of bought is buy. After I ate with my mom, ate. The present tense is eat. We lost 56-70. The present tense of lost is lose. I saw a basketball match on TV. The present tense of saw is see. I got up. The present tense of got up is get up. My mom took me to the shops. The present tense of took is take. So if you remember, had, won, went, did, bought, ate, lost, saw, got up, and took, they are all irregular verbs. Now, let's look at some examples of sentences in the past tense. I went to the movies yesterday. I had a great time last night. I played on my phone for an hour. I took some selfies with my new phone 3 minutes ago. And I washed the dishes from dinner last meal. So I'm going to use also a time expression to state that I'm talking about the past. In this case, my times expressions for the past tense are yesterday, last night, 3 minutes ago, and last meal. For an hour is not a time expression for the past, it's just a time expression. Okay? But most of the time, I have to use a time expression that states past. Okay, So let's look at the sentences and decide if these rules are true or false. It says, I didn't know what a chef did. I went to a restaurant for my job shadow. I didn't have time to sit down all day. The nurses didn't stop for a second, and the job shadow really helped me. So we have decided if these sentences or if these rules are true or false. Sentence A and sentence C are negative. So I have my auxiliary didn't and my verb in present form. So that is true. They are negative. We use didn't to make the past negative. And that's correct. I didn't know what the chef did, or the nurses didn't stop for a second. So that it's also true. And finally, after didn't, we need the infinitive of the verb without to, which is also true. If we know what the verb is in base form or in present. I didn't know, he didn't have. It's not going to be knew or had. The verb stays in base form. For example, in this one, I went to a restaurant for my new job shadow. It would be I didn't go to a restaurant if I wanted to make it negative. The job shadow really helped me. If I wanted to do it negative, it would be the job shadow really didn't help me. And when I use didn't, my verb goes in present in base form. To make the negative, so I need a subject, I, you, he, she, it, we, they, didn't, which means did not, and my verb. It didn't work. He didn't like. They didn't go. Look at this verb. The verb always goes in base form. And remember, sometimes I need expressions for the past like yesterday. After did or didn't, we use the infinitive. But remember, didn't is only for the negative. If my sentence is in an affirmative form, I just need my verb in past tense. I went to a restaurant. I cannot say I did went or I did go. I just need the verb in past tense. Didn't is only for the negative. Let's look at some sentences and try to make them negative. It says, Shakespeare wrote comics. Shakespeare didn't write comics. What happened to my verb is that I changed wrote for write. Beethoven played an electric guitar. So Beethoven didn't. He didn't play an electric guitar because he's a classical musician. So remember, my verb play remains in the base form and I need my auxiliary didn't. Queen Elizabeth I ate hamburgers. So that would be Queen Elizabeth I didn't eat hamburgers. Maybe hamburgers didn't exist when she was alive. Cleopatra wore jeans. The same happened when Cleopatra was alive. Jeans didn't exist. So Cleopatra didn't, the present tense of wore is wear. So Cleopatra didn't wear jeans. Then it says, the ancient Romans had cars. No, that's not true. So the ancient Romans didn't have cars. And Leonardo da Vinci used a computer. That's also not true. So Leonardo da Vinci didn't use a computer, and again the verb goes into base form. So here I have 4 sentences that are already done for you out of the 6. I would like you to try these 2 sentences. The ancient Romans had car and Leonardo da Vinci used a computer. I would like you to try them in your notebook by yourself. So, as I told you, Beethoven played the electric guitar. Beethoven didn't play the electric guitar. Look at the verb is in present. Queen Elizabeth ate hamburgers. The present tense of ate is eat. So Queen Elizabeth I didn't eat hamburgers. And finally, wore. The present tense of wore is wear. Cleopatra didn't wear jeans. Okay, guys, that would be it. If you have any questions, please let me know.